crazy numbers. So first crazy number is that the database I created with like AI tools has more than 1,700 applications
Wow.
that use AI within the AEC industry. And to think about it in another way, this means 1,700 solutions to problems in the AC. So this
Mm.
is probably the crazy number, just to think. And I mean, all this 1,700 comes from me. Like I also most likely miss because I'm just a guy, right? So I miss some tools for sure. Because the truth is that there's over 60,000 AI companies right now. Waste, especially, I think that everybody in this industry, I guess, should know or probably knows that we are the largest polluter on this planet. Like 39% of all global carbon emissions are produced by the building industry. But on the other hand, what they might not know is how much we need to build. So we need to build a New York-sized city every 34 days for the next 40 years if we want to house the global population. This means doubling our current building stock. So for every building in the world, we need to create a double. We got more than 200 companies on our waitlist for a good reason, because we understood that, again, 30 to 50% of all software is unused. The companies we speak with, like they, again, 76% of them admit to over procuring software, like they over get software just to be sure. But this leads to wasting 48% of their annual budgets, typically.
Wow.
It all depends, like on your country, because you all have a bunch of countries where people used hack software and so on and so forth. So it really depends. But so the numbers I'm referring to are typically US based and yeah, maybe Europe based. In terms of like the industry and how much technology is used and so on, I think that yeah, we're gonna go more toward using AI for mundane tasks, and where like our jobs will change into the form of like we will communicate more, like we do right now. We will think more, like most of us do, I would say. Um, and then yeah, I think we're just gonna find a perfect balance between using technology and using our powers, and like what are we actually good at? Because right now people tend to overcommit to technology, but then it fails in some ways, or
Mhm.
undercommit to it, and then like they do everything manually. So I think that it's gonna be much more clear in terms of like what I see the industry going. I think that it's gonna happen that we will at some point go toward AI generated buildings and projects. Not that we don't have that right now. We have renders and so on, but like we don't have like a full drawing set that's like AI generated. So I think we're gonna go more to like toward IKEA style buildings, where it's like you choose from a catalog what kind of kitchen or what kind of
Modular,
building you want. Huh?
modular approach.
Exactly. I think that's gonna happen. But like modular, where it's like also pre-produced and you have drawings and so on. I think that's what's gonna happen for most of the industry. Most because like most of the industry still does projects that are not, I don't know, highly crazy in the geometry or highly, on something and so on. Like typically you would change foundations, you would change the spot, and so on. But I think that what's also going to happen is like there's going to be more and more requests for so to speak luxury architecture and luxury engineering, where you have a human reviewer to look at stuff. Same
Mm.
thing, like I always give this example, like souvenirs. Whenever I go to a country, if you buy some magnet, it's typically produced in China or somewhere,
Yeah.
but that's why it costs $1. But I don't mind giving $100 to an older lady that maybe is like weaving her basket on the corner of the street, because I know that she's working with her hands. She's giving a piece of her soul to this object, right? And it's handmade. And that's why I think that's what's going to happen with buildings too. We will have a bunch of generated, fabricated buildings that don't really speak much, but then
Social ones, yeah. You
yeah,
was
we're
calling it.
also going to have like handmade buildings, so to speak. That what's going to happen is that it's going to be a lot more dangerous for knowledge workers, so people like like ourselves working behind their screens and laptops, than for construction workers. We will need more hands on deck, and not everything can be automated. And people that have ever worked on a construction site know how messy it is and how disorganized it is. So of course there will be more technology, but in terms of like actually putting the stuff up and making it like produced, we will need more hands on deck. So I think that, I would like to start this like answer with saying that like a few years ago, I was like 24, 25, and I experienced something that a lot of people were joking with me with, and probably are gonna laugh when I say it, but something called quarter life crisis. Okay. And for those
I know
people who
what
would
you
like
mean.
either have never heard of this, like what I think of it is that I think that, until that age, I have been following the structure that the world has offered me. I went to school, I listened to my parents, I, went to high school. After high school, I signed up for like, university. I finished my bachelor, finished my master's, and got a job. And after my first job, I got a second job, and I was like, which is like at a company that should have been my dream, right? And what my point is that I followed the rules, I followed the structure that I got. And then I got to age 25 and I'm like, okay, I'm working at this world-class company. I actually enjoy my job. I don't mind it. But I was like, is this it? Like, I was really thinking like, am I really born to just do this? Like, I felt that I have a lot more capacity and a lot more energy for more. I'm not saying this can happen for everybody. What I'm trying to say is that I do believe that most like jobs aren't there to fulfill the whole you. They're there
Mm.
to fulfill a certain role and need. So what happened with me is that I got this into this crisis. I was like, is this it really? Like, I followed all the rules. Shouldn't I be like the happiest person ever? Like the most content person ever? And that's when I like I mean felt maybe a calling. Maybe again it sounds weird, but like I did feel a calling that I should start doing more because like I always have this mindset of like you can't do the same things and expect the different results. So
Yeah.
I started posting online, meaning I started sharing my knowledge online on LinkedIn, and people really gravitated toward it because I do believe that I found something that I was like finally born to do. And today I feel different about work. So as you know, like it's been, what is it now, 4 years ever since that moment. In those 4 years, yeah, okay, I got laid off. I also got more than 700 clients. I got 30,000 people following me on LinkedIn. I got like I've seen so much of the world. I've been on so many continents because of my work.
Hmm.
It's just incredible because I didn't settle for the status quo. I didn't settle for like, you understand what I mean? I'm not like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not like I was
Yeah.
25 and this is a job and I'm gonna switch to another job and another job. I was like, I feel there's more in me. And of course, like I told you, for some of the things they happened to me, like being laid off, it wasn't like a decision I actively like, was like, yeah, I want to be laid off. No, it
Yeah.
didn't happen like that. So I think that experience really showed me that if there's anybody feeling the same way, I can just tell you you're not alone, and there is a whole world out there. There is a book. I'm showing it right now on the camera. It's called The Minimalist Entrepreneur, and this book like teaches you how to like, especially if you're starting a business like I did, like from a uh like an abyss of like being laid off and not having a lot of money. Like I had like 6 months savings, um like to start. So first of all, it teaches you just to start. So you can open the book and the first page it says just start. You know what your next step is. You don't need a book to tell you that. You know what your next step is. Everybody has a dream. Maybe the dream is to open a bakery shop. Maybe it's a t-shirt shop. Maybe it's a hair cutting business. Maybe it's like AI education business. Who knows? Everybody knows what their dream is, what they would like to do,
Yeah.
and we all know the steps to it. Like step number one can just be like Googling how to open a business. Step number two is maybe I can ask ChatGPT for help on like where do I make my website? How do I make it? And so on and so forth. So you actually start all of these things. So just that because I do believe that every single person on this planet knows what their next step is. If they're like, I would say sane and, doing it for a good cause. But another thing that it also teaches you is it tells you to kind of sell before you invest, so to speak. So what I mean is that you want to make sure that you have a critical mass of people wanting to buy your stuff. Because sometimes what people tend to get in love with an idea of things more than the thing itself. And that's a problem when you're an entrepreneur, because like you are putting your time and effort, which is fine, but sometimes you also put a bunch of money. So like I have examples of like even fellow entrepreneurs who would buy all of this expensive equipment because they're like, I'm gonna run, I don't know, speaker and microphone or karaoke machine rental shop, and they buy all of this expensive equipment, but in the end it turns out nobody needs this or wants this. So
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say is that don't buy the equipment, set up a website where you're renting or selling the equipment, and if you get 100 orders in, then you struggle
Got it.
to fulfill those orders. You
Yeah.
understand?
Fully agree.
So
Fully agree.
yeah. I do a lot of hybrid stuff because I mean I don't have an office. We don't have a physical office. My employees are all over the world. One is in the Philippines, one is in Nigeria, one is in Serbia, and I'm here in LA. So it's like 4 time zones, 4 continents. So there isn't really an office somewhere in the middle of it. If it would be like the Atlantis, somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. So I use ChatGPT for mainly like my assistant on different things and like ideation of stuff and so on. So building and developing new products for both of my businesses. But Perplexity I rely on for search and research. It's the best application for search out there for sure. First of all, thank you, man. And the reason why I even said yes to the show is just because of that. So I love entrepreneurship. I didn't know I did it. Like when I was an employee and I would hear the industry slowing down, the projects are slowing down, I would be afraid. I would be like so stressed about my job. But ever since I became an entrepreneur, which is like 100% uncertainty, like, you can go down under tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
I just love it. I never stress about like, the next step. I don't stress anymore. Like, you can stress about certain things, like, are we going to develop this in time and so on. But if there's going to be work, if there's going to be like jobs, I don't stress about this anymore. I guess it's like you figure out the agility. That's the skill. And one thing I would like to say is that that's why I love entrepreneurship. That's why I love people like yourself who are trying to make a difference. Because one thing that I don't think people should realize, people in jobs, is that you don't realize how great you can become until you give yourself to the open market
That's right.
and you start your own thing, or it can be within a company, it can be for a startup, but you don't really know how great you are. So for anybody feeling limited in their job, it might not be you, it might be the job. So yeah, as I told you, I don't believe in competition. The only competition is me yesterday.
Yeah.
I need to be better today than I was yesterday. And if you just keep doing it that way, life life beyond your wildest dreams will happen to you, as it's happening to me right now.